Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Intuitive Energy Forecast for March 28th, 2022. I'm Arlene Grace, an intuitive energy coach, master numerologist, and channel. So as I'm tuning into today's energy is that of a one and an eight of clubs. And so the one is really about new beginnings, new awarenesses, epiphanies. It's about, beginning a journey. It's about seeing something in your life where you're like, oh, I see that. And I think that I want more. Oh, I see that. And I'm done with that. And so it's this opportunity to be open to what is happening in my life. Do I like what I'm seeing? Is there something that I'm feeling pulled towards that is more than what I have? That with the eight of clubs is this ability to build momentum of the mind and the emotions with that. Now it's the infinity, right? And so when you think about the infinity and it comes from you and you're moving that out, it begins with an info emotional state. I desire to have this beautiful relationship with my partner that is full of this and this and this, right? And it feels like this. And so I take that I desire and I bring that into what does it feel like? And I move that out into the world. It becomes an invitation for my partner to join me in that place, that experience. Now, the caveat with this and the word that's coming through is, well, what about pleasure? Right? Is pleasure something that comes before our well-being and our desires? Because why would we want our desires in the first place? And so when you think about desires, many of us don't allow ourselves to desire things. We've been conditioned to think that we can only want what we see in the world, what we only see as possible, what we were only told we were allowed to have, whether that is in our family or that's in society, in our culture. And so many of us don't desire things. And yet that's what we're being called to do. We're being called to allow ourselves to want, because it is to be human is to want. It's normal. And when we achieve those things, we are allowed to want more. Now, pulling back again to the word pleasure. It's interesting because I was playing with the word pleasure and I was thinking, okay, well, let's define that, right? What does the Merriam-Webster dictionary say? And it says enjoyment or satisfaction derived from something that is to one's liking, gratification, delight, worldly or frivolous enjoyment. Frivolous. Interesting. Many of us don't allow ourselves to feel pleasure. Now, why is that? Pleasure has been connected to sensual gratification, which is a part of the definition, right? It's actually connected to sexuality, and that's all we really see on media. It's all about something that has been sexualized, whether that is the way that we eat food, the way that it pans in on the lips, the way that sex is put out there in the media, the way that porn is out there in the media, and how there is a folly with that. Many of that isn't necessarily true. Many of that is not necessarily what we experience in our life, right? And of course, it is entertainment. And so pulling back, the invitation for you is to ask yourself, well, what does pleasure mean for me? Do I allow myself to have it? Many of the conditions that have been imposed upon us is that we aren't allowed to feel pleasure until we have the body, until we have the looks, until we have the success, until we have the money, until we have the vacation, until the children are grown and out of the house, until. In fact, many of us are shamed for feeling pleasure. Again, it could be because of the sexual connotation towards it. And yet pleasure is a feeling in the body. Yes, it can move into the direction of sexuality and sexual pleasure. And it can also just simply be a pleasurable walk, facing the sun, feeling the heat of the sun. It can be something that is just a simple feeling in the body of tasting rich food or something that you entirely enjoy. It can be being with your partner. It can be laughter. It can be play. And so what I'm doing is I'm asking you to bring that into your awareness. If I could be in pleasure all day, would I allow myself to be there? And then to notice the judgments that many of us have with the word pleasure. When we look on social media or when we look at the news or certain things and we see different prescriptions where different body shapes are not allowed to have pleasure, or different people looking a certain way aren't allowed to have pleasure, or children are only allowed to have pleasure, but once they reach 12, no more pleasure for them, right? And so it's an interesting weave and an interesting pattern that we all have in our own way of thinking. So, pleasure. What does it mean to be in pleasure? What does it mean to allow pleasure in your life? Are you willing to bring pleasure before your well-being and your desire? Because that would actually contribute to it, right? To imagine a desire that you have that feels like it would be pleasurable to attain it, to have it, to manifest it, to materialize it in your life. That it would actually amplify the energy of it. Because today's energy is that is fixed, meaning that we can easily get pulled in the momentum and feel into the power. We can easily bring in that psychic energy, that psychic intuition as we move forward today. That's the energy that is supporting us. Now we can either move in the direction of the lower perception where, oh, woe is me, my body aches, I don't feel very good, oh my God, it's Monday, Mondays suck, gotta go to work, got all these bills to pay. Or we can shift into the higher perception, which is really full of pleasure, full of the ability to create with this awareness, whatever that awareness is that you receive, to play with that idea and to think, okay, I have an awareness that I want to play with wealth in such a way that I have a surplus of wealth in all of my accounts. I want to make it rain. And for that to feel pleasurable in my body, am I willing to allow myself to feel that? Fuck yeah. Why not? It's not shameful. It's not dirty. It's not any of those things. It's simply an energy. And so to imagine what that would be like, to imagine the possibilities of what could be available with that. It's possible that it's possible it could rain money. It's possible that I can open a box from Amazon and it's just full of cash. It's possible that someone will just give me a check. It's possible that I can go out to the grocery store and find a $20 bill in my cart. It's possible that I can find a wallet on the ground and there's no ID, but it's full of cash. It's possible that I could just receive what's it called? A credit for something that I bought, which I actually received this past weekend. It's possible. And so when you can play with the possible and open up your lens and just move into that energy and make it playful and pleasurable and fun and curious and allowing yourself to have that, are you willing to allow yourself to have the pleasure? Are you willing to receive the pleasure? Are you willing to communicate that out in the world or to your partner, to your family and your friends? And just notice, what do you feel in your body? What do you feel in your body when you feel that? Because things may start to rise up and that might be part of your awareness. Maybe you realize, oh man, there's something that happened in my past that is creating this trauma to rise up from my body. That when I think of pleasure, I feel this shame. So I'm going to allow myself to just move that out through my body, right? Today is a beautiful day to really come into pleasure, into confidence, and into joy. And confidence comes from knowing the truth of your own body, knowing the truth of your own spirit, knowing the truth of your own emotions, knowing the truth of societal conditions, knowing the truth of cultural conditions, knowing the truth of what you see in the world and what you feel here, right? The revolution is an inner job. Our revolution is internal. And so when you can come into that feeling of confidence because you understand the truth of you, your own sexuality, your own body, your own emotions, your own feelings, your own thoughts, all of those things, and you can now bring joy to the truth of it, pleasure to the truth of it, you will continue to move forward today in creating all of these pathways that are available for you. You'll start to play with life. You'll start to play with Creator, God, the universe, in such a way that you start to receive these beautiful synchronicities, these beautiful mirrors to show you, yeah, I'm moving in the right direction. And so today is your day to play. Amp up how you feel, amp up what you think, build on it, create with it, and continue to move forward. Feel inspired by it and play with the word pleasure. Beautiful. Questions, comments, please feel free to share and I will be happy to respond. Sending you all so much love. Happy Monday. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.